welcoming all our viewers here at home and abroad to International Affairs being broadcasted from the SATV's Gulshan studio. I am your host, Shamsul Alam Panto. There are several updates that I want to share with you all, but before I begin the discussion here in the studio, let me introduce my panel. Here in the studio, I have Major Dr. Khosrow Samad. He's of course a military veteran, a doctor of pharmacology. I welcome you on to the program. It's good to see you after a while. Alongside, we will have our geopolitical correspondent Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, District of Columbia. I want to begin the news by U.S. President Donald Trump. He'd be the first U.S. president to attend the NBA Finals game in which he got verily booed by the people attending this game. Of course, the name came out. The New York Knicks has lost 111 to 115 to the San Antonio Spurs in the game of the three of the best of the seven NBA Finals. I want to begin the discussion with Major Dr. Khosrow Samad. Before I ask you the question, what is the ground situation reality as of today? It's Iran and Israel has shared retaliatory missile barrages over one day, as U.S. President has told both the sides to lay off and to come to make a deal. It is hampering the popularity of the President of the United States of America. On the other side, Israel has warned citizens of Lebanon to evacuate their premises, evacuate their lands, even after they have paused this retaliatory strikes. On the other side, Iran is announcing that it has ended its attack on Israel, but warns of a crushing response if it chooses to come back to the retaliatory stage. I want to ask you, sir, 100 days have gone by. This recent attack slightly increased the Brent crude oil per barrel. It still has an economic effect towards people, not only in those respective states as well as here in Bangladesh. I want to get how you feel regarding the war surpassing 100 days.
Thank you very much. 100 days is just a big days. It was forecasted and claimed USA and his allied, including Israel. It is an issue of the couple of the days, as it happened to the Venezuela. They came, they conquered, they took their president, they flew away, the game is over. Apparently, might be America thought in that way. It was happened also. We can remember in this table we spoke a lot. The very first day they attacked in the Tehran and they killed Ayatollah and most of the generals and the policymakers, technocrats and the top dignitaries of Iran. So initially it is assumed it is very easy job on the Americans' part to conquer the Iran. But subsequently we have seen the things become the reverse, and Iran having the very foresee, they become the diplomacy rather than the military tactics. Rather they make fusion of the military tactics, strategy along with the diplomacy. We have already came to see that the Hormuz was closed. Naturally, America could not think the things might be happen, and world politics become the reverse. And the role of the Lebanon becomes very crucial. Let us focus on the Lebanon's strategy. Usually, Lebanon is a mixed country, as we know. There are the mixtures of the Christians, more or less 60%, and among the Muslims, there are the Shia and the Sunnis. So the organogram is that the president must be Christians, speaker is the Muslim, but the Shia, Sunni, and the prime minister is the Shia. So it is a composite, and the culture is the heterogeneous. But the country, we said the country, there is a Hizbullah, Hizb Allah, that means the fighters of the Allah, they claim. Actually, it is told that is the wing of the Iran. And we have also seen the Houthi inside the Yemen. So there is a polarization, very, very conspicuous polarizations. In the one side, Israel and his allied, usually the Europes, and obviously the America. But in the course of the time, the Europe did not be with them, and American role is focused here in the many times. The other roles of the Arab countries, initially, apparently we know the Arabs are the very good friends of USA, and initially they have the hostility with Israel, but subsequently they become the friend of the America. But in this time, due to the Arabs spirit, as it was previously, like so one Arab, one currency in the Libyan period by Muammar Gaddafi, and there is there is an excellent OIC, Islamic countries.
Right.
But nowadays, the role of the Saudi Arabia and others, at least they become the neutral. They are not that much, neglecting the Iran. Rather, their passive presence goes to the Iran's part. And it is very hard job to tell from this table, because frequent changes, even by the couple of the seconds, which I prepared to tell in this table, it becomes reversed by the couple of the minutes already. So, if you ask me, my assumption as a military analyst as well, it may not be absolutely ceasefire for the whole life, but the magnitude of the war may not be sky high. It may be like still Gaza, it's an issue of the 50 years, still it is going on.
Right.
And in the Lebanon crisis, still it is the issue of the 50 years, still it is going on. When it's a boost up, when it becomes a plateau level, when it becomes the flat level. Why? The main objective of the Israel to expand the Israel, as we know, the Balfour's Law in the 1970, by which they conquered this land, as we can remember in the First World War and especially in the Second World War, when the Hitler attacked the Jewish and they killed most of the Jewish, the few Jewish was left over, and the Muslim, especially the ILO and the Palestinians, they invite them, yes, you are landless, you have no place to settle, you come here, we will give you the land, you give you the food, you give the shelter, you give the everything. They came. By the Balfour's Law, gradually they, accumulated there, they took their land, they bring their military powers, and ultimately they blessed by USA, and ultimately they change their face and they become the threat to the total Arab countries as well as the Muslim countries. This is the scenario. So globalization is very conspicuous. Now, the vision of Netanyahu and the vision of Trump is not the same. Okay. Rather, America is claiming that Netanyahu, including the Israel, also being the espionage inside the USA. So, previously their military intelligence was exchanging their informations. But now America is not believing Netanyahu, because the task or the vision which was given by America and President, ultimately Netanyahu did not follow from the point to point. They are taking the benefit of the doubt of the treaty or ceasefire. They are attacking the Hezbollah and the Lebanon despite of the ceasefire. They have the logics, but there is no sharp logics. They tell, yes, you are fighting, this is the fighting between the Iran and the America. So Lebanon is not our issue.
Right.
But it cannot be stratified in a specific manner. It should be focused globally, not locally. My point, it should be mixtures of the both military part and the diplomatic part, not local part, as well as the pressure and the negotiations of the both of the parties. Like we have seen already, the Pakistan, they tried to negotiate, China tried to negotiate, Russia tried to negotiate, now Saudi Arabs and other Arabs are trying to negotiate. Parallelly, Arab things has, you know, in the Egypt nowadays there is a meeting in the OIC and others for focusing the ceasefire or neutralizing the power of the Israel in the Gaza. But yesterday there is an attack in Gaza again, despite of the ceasefire.
Right.
So we are seeing every time there are violating of the ceasefire, sometimes of the Israel's part. And if Iran protect himself, it cannot be told that is an attack. If you attack continuously and saying that there is a ceasefire, and if you are not allowed to counter, it cannot be a ceasefire. So it becomes a both-way traffic, and ceasefire is in question.
Right. Excellent and proper, accurate statements made by Dr. Khosrow Samad, especially regarding the straining ties between Israel and the United States of America. I want to ask our geopolitical correspondent Norman Floyd Barnes, situated in Washington, D.C. A very good morning to you, Norman. We are seeing some tensions coming out. Donald Trump has mentioned over 37 times that he was close to a deal to end the Iran escalation as we see it. And not only so, it is not a relationship like Azerbaijan and Armenia that it will be easy for US President Donald Trump to sit the two sides down for a negotiation, for a ceasefire, for long-term trade deals as well. But this time around, it is Israel and Iran. And of course, there is a Greater Israel plan, a plan that is headed by Benjamin Netanyahu, including attacks on Lebanon. And it is still the talk of the town. while Donald Trump has been the first U.S. president to join the NBA final game, of course, the crowd chanted booing the U.S. President Donald Trump. It's a very first sight to see. And of course, the Americans, common citizens, are taking the brunt of the economic repercussions that are stemming from this war. I want to get the know-how from you, Norman. How are you seeing this? A very good morning to you.
Greetings and good morning. Today, we're moving into another day of history. I think we passed 100 days of the war in Iran, and yes, the conversation here is the relationship between the British Prime Minister and our president. It appears they started the war together, but they could be no more different than we are today. The president wants to negotiate terms to end this global conflict, while the Prime Minister of Israel is seeking to find a way to keep this war going. He has a mandate to eliminate Iran and its enemies. That is the only way he can measure, in his eyes, success. Anything less than that is a defeat, and he is up for election this year. The same thing in the United States. Our president party is up for midterms, and we here in the United States do not believe that our citizens, our resources, our government should be involved in this Iranian event. So the pressure is on both of these men to produce, and it appears that they are at odds. They cannot agree to this because of the pressure coming from within the parties, the people, the countries, to come to a solution. Solution for Israel is to destroy. Solution for the United States is to basically to employ relationships with the world and keep the economic stimulus moving where people can basically keep their quality of life. Right now, we're looking at a conflict between the United States and Israel on regards of which way do we move forward in the future. Unfortunately, this affects everyone in the world. Every single avenue, alley, street, roadway, people are very concerned. We have a major event coming very soon this week. Sunday, the World Cup. The United States, has been chosen one of the countries to service host for this global event. Unfortunately, I believe our government is not understanding the mindset of this. This event is not just another sporting event. It is part of the lifestyle of people. People want to engage in friendly competition, fellowship, and politics has now put its poisonous hands into the situation, denying athletes, denying referees, denying people access to this major event. This is not an act of a good host. And like the wars, like the other things that goes on, people have strong memories. They will remember how they've been treated. And this will create the conflict as we move forward. This war, this conflict, and acting as a good host has to take precedent on what's going on. We as a people, human beings, must understand that at some point in time, we must become human. Right now, that is not the situation. We're political machines, political ploys, and no one wins except a few people who wins by profiting on war. Everyone else is lose. So a trend has to happen. Hopefully people wake up in a spirit of time and see exactly where this thing is going. This is going to a situation where our civilization as humans are being challenged. The issue right now, we create wars, and wars do not create peace, do not create the future. They just create more wars. And it appears that war is itself the success story for certain people. War creates war. We don't have to win the war, we just have to participate in the war, and that's how we make things happen. Unfortunately, the world, the common person, do not believe that. And that will come out very soon.
Outstanding remarks by Norman Floyd Barnes, of course, connecting geopolitics within the framework between the FIFA World Cup setting place just next Sunday. Of course, there were some references that Norman had pointed out. Let me be slightly descriptive before I can go on to a break. The U.S. administration confirms it denied entry to a Somali referee set to take part in World Cup. Of course, it is not only referee Omar Artan was indismissible, but there is historical evidence of U.S. President Donald Trump and, of course, Ilhan Omar, the American representative, U.S. representative for Minnesota's 5th congressional district since 2019. The two individuals have shared retaliatory, inflammatory remarks as well. We will see how the World Cup this time around will be held. It's not only going to be held in the United States, Canada and Mexico will also be hosting the World Cup alongside. With that being said, it's time to take a short commercial break. Afterwards, we look at how the repercussions from slight political actions will have an effect for the days to come. Do stay tuned. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Panto.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV's screen,
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks,
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Welcoming our guests back on International Affairs. Today I'm joined in the studio with Dr. Khosrow Samad as well as Norman Floyd Barnes there in Washington, District of Columbia. I want to start this time around with Dr. Khosrow Samad. You see, US President Donald Trump, why he is the center of geopolitical debate is because he has almost a comment for every issue there is around the world. Given so the size of the United States is heavy, and this time around they are hosting the World Cup. As you were hearing, Norman Floyd Barnes, several disturbances in visa requirements is not only for the players of the Iranian team. They are going to get the visa. However, the support staff of the Iranian team have not been granted visas. And as I was saying, the Somali referee were not given visas. It is causing a strain towards the normal operation of the FIFA program this time around in the US. As well as the NBA Finals, we've seen the president being booed by the crowd. It definitely signals a type of popularity before the midterm elections set to take place late in November. I just want to know from you, popularity is a very huge concern. Any kind of wrong decision making can change the people's mandate for you. Before his re-election as the second in his second term, we have seen some of the campaign promises. Of course, the most popularly one is making America great again and not to engage any kind of foreign wars. But the rhetoric has changed after he has taken the oath of that seat. We've seen Venezuela, we've seen Iran, and Cuba is on the cards, and so was Greenland. So I just want to get a comment from you. Popularity in the terms in the common day, in the current day, where social media and media across the world can take the 2-3 sentences that you make and create editorials worldwide. It has an effect not only in the minds of those who read, but also at the economic stage. So want to get a comment from you regarding his popularity.
Thank you very much. Regarding the terminology popularity, it is the military word. It is the mostly observed and least understood phenomenon in this world. We can visualize the very popular leader. Popular leader to me, but hatred leader to you, it might be.
Right.
A popular leader to me might be hatred leader to me. Yesterday, who is a popular, he became the worst by the today. We can see in the Bangladeshi history many a times, need not to be explanation.
Right.
But that was obvious. It was proved time and time again. Okay. In the Americans' politics, there are the two parties, as we know, Democrats and the Republicans. They are the alternates in the many times. And the difference of the vote, only 2 or 3%. 52, 48, 53, 47. So both of the parties more or less the same, the votes as well as the very neutral votes are there, that roams of the personal's popularity, as you asked. Since in the thorn term was Trump was debated in the many issues, as many times they said, even the clown even. And the very couple of the days we saw he is in the chair, mid the praise. What happened? He lost his temperament by the questions of the Christina. It's a press. You are on the face, right? I am in the press. You are my anchor, so you are authorized to ask me any questions.
Of course.
I may not agree with you. So if I cannot agree, I say I do not agree, or I cannot answer, even it might happen. But I cannot lose my temper. I cannot put off my speaker, and I cannot go back from the camera. But he is the highest, chairholder, and he must have the very cool head, very specific manner, soothing words, diplomatic tone, humble gesture. But what we saw, the things become the reverse. He was irritated, and irritated. Rather, he should, tranquilize the phenomenon. He failed. And what happened, say, last 6 months ago, Epstein files. We saw what happened, and we spoke about the Epstein file in this chair. So this is the moral turpitude. Moral turpitude is a very risky phenomenon. Right. And in the Bangladesh, we saw a couple of the days back, the one child was abducted, and he was brutally raped, and she killed. And the verdict was given. I brought the things. This is the inhumanity or the sexual perversion to a children. It's called pedophilia. So if I take the same phenomenon according as a doctor from the psychological point of the view, it's a sexual perversion. And it was proved that, Trump went to that islands, and they have the very good friends. And usually the alcoholics' friends are alcoholics, the holy people's friends are holy people's, the politicians' friends are politicians, businessmen's friends. A man is known by the company he keeps. So naturally, if the friend of the Epstein, and he cannot say, I went and go for the prayer with the Epstein. That is circumstantially, it is proved that he having the pedophilia. So thus having the tremendous influence of his personal popularity. And as a military leader or the statesman, he failed to equation of the Iran what he did in the other Venezuela. And in the Cuba, as we know, more than 100 attempts was taken to kill Castro, but it failed. And Cuba, being a small country, they are very patriotic, raising their voice, and still keeping inside the heart of the America, they show a big thumb. So still, even in the Republic Party, there is every questions of the Trump's popularity. And in many cases, Trump did not follow his policymakers, his advisors' suggestions. He did not follow the general's military invasion policies and military strategy and tactics. Rather, he becomes lonely usually. On the other hand side, it is not wise to mix us with the politics and the sports. Sports is sports. And it's a football is not the mere the football, it's a unite the world. The slogan is that, unite the world. I might be black, I might be white, I might be poor, I might be rich, whatever the things may be, we have the single, similarity, that is with the football lover, with the sports lover. It is beyond the race, beyond the culture. So, and in the perspective of the football point of the view, football is divided into two categories. One in the Latin American countries like the Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay. In the other hand, it is Europe like France, Germany, UK, Netherlands, and others. But in the Asia, there is no outcome, though the population is very rich. And even the USA, the Southern America, USA, Mexico, Canada, they are the very poor exposures. They don't have any history to go to any remarkable level of the football. But the logistic is fine, the administration is good, and it is acceptable. So my proposal, I am very tiny, is rather the proposal from the whole of the world, as an ambassador of the full world, as a citizen of the world. So it should be restricted from all races. Everybody should welcome beyond the political biasness, because the biasness of the personal hostility, beyond the hatred keep inside, which is interfere the spirit of the brothership among the footballers.
Excellent remarks from you, Dr. Khosrow Samad, not only regarding popularity, but as well as the geopolitical situation keeps developing regarding the World Cup, regarding football, a huge entertainment event happening every 4 years or so. I want to take the conversation to Norman Floyd Barnes as I make of the statements by the doctor here in the studio. A man is known with the company he keeps, and that is very important statement coming from Dr. Khosrow Samad. That is what I want to ask you, Norman Floyd Barnes. Donald Trump has formally nominated his former personal lawyer, Todd Blanche, to serve as the Attorney General. Of course, he'll be stepping in and to succeed Pam Bondi, who was fired there in April, much of which is regarding his role in handling the Jeffrey Epstein files. But I want to ask you once again regarding World Cup as well. Just your remarks on Todd Blanche and regarding the World Cup. If you compare it to the Qatar World Cup, we've seen Qatar building stadiums, employing thousands of people just to make sure this very event followed through. Even a stadium that was made by container, stacking of containers in Qatar. We've seen how that nation has handled this worldwide event. And anything shorter of that in the United States will only be very dramatic and very drastic to its popularity. I want to get a remark from you, Norman. How do you see this? I see that you're nodding on as I speak on. Passing it to you, Norman, how you see it?
I'm as an athlete myself, former athlete, and as someone I lived in Brazil for a while I was playing basketball there. The passion, the World Cup is one of these events that comes around in human lifetime where everybody can engage, meaning you can be the richest person in the world, you can be the poorest person in the world, but this levels everything out. This is an opportunity where athletes practice 97% of their life for 3% time, and they have a short window, lifespan, youth, certain times you can do that. They can't do it when they're 80 years old. They can't do it when they're 50 years old. They can't even do it when they're 40 years old. So they have a small window of time. And this is a time where people come together. It's a passionate thing. This is about passion, not about who win, who lose. It doesn't matter. You got Brazil, you got UK, you got other countries that are very strong. Then you have little countries like Mauritius that participate. It's the passion that people get when they see this. They are now have a chance to, for a moment, take a pause and come together as a human race. We have a connected thing. We have a chance to participate, engage in each other outside of war. So this is very important that our leaders understand what they're getting into. This is something that people will carry on generationally. They want to know, how do you make me feel during this point period of time, particularly the athletes, particularly these athletes are ambassadors of goodwill. We will never have peace until we understand the dynamics of the human mind, the human experience. People have long memories. They don't care who's in government. They don't care how much money they have. They only care about, how do you make me feel during that time? And they associate that feeling with the time period. It's not that you have a depression. It's basically, how did I feel and who put me in that situation and who can I put my hands on so that I can basically hold responsible for that. So our government leaders are fortunately putting themselves in a situation where people are now putting their hands on them and say, hey, you are the cause of this thing. Hopefully, the World Cup will prevail. The athletes going to do what they're supposed to do, and they're going to show up and they're going to do well. But the government influence in that will have a profound effect on future games and the future of our human race.
Right. And as I make from Norman Floyd Barnes' statement, I just want to ask you another question very close by to what you were discussing, the price of tickets regarding the commoner, how they will be purchasing tickets that are very well 3 to 4 Super Bowl ticket prices combined over the thousands. Just to ask Norman Floyd Barnes a very short comment regarding the pricing of tickets and how you see it, how FIFA and the United States administration is also trying to get this issue sorted. Some of these people that were trying to buy tickets online were waiting with the scroll of doom. Some even have to wait over 4 hours for their turn at the online stage. Norman, the price of tickets, is it very easy to purchase to watch these games? What do you think?
The tickets are outrageous. They are basically inhuman, the cost. What they're proposing to charge a person is ridiculous. It's well outside of their means. So what we will have, you will have the games and you will have the people that will be able to afford it will show. But what you're going to have, the most important thing, particularly in the United States, there will be places, large, low locations where people can watch it on jumbotrons, TV stations. TV station is going to run it for free. You're going to have these pubs and clubs and open parks where thousands of people will engage. You will see basically the workflow will shut down, the traffic flow will shut down. It would be just like a holiday, and people will not be working. If they're at work, you can forget about, if a World Cup game coming on, you're not going to get any work out of them. So they're going to be glued to the television screen, glued to a jumbo screen, a projection screen, whatever they can to engage in this event. This is a phenomenal time. You might as well say, I'm going to hold my breath. I'm not going to breathe until I see get involved in the games. You're not going to get any work out of it. So very little work going to be done during this time, meaningful work. Everybody's going to be engaged in this. And the ones who can't afford, some people are saving their lifetime savings to basically to engage and be at these games. The ones who cannot will find a way, cell phone, telephones, whatever, to participate. This is the participation of the people. People will participate in this. It's not like, oh, I can watch this or I can watch a soap opera. I can watch the news. No, 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 no. This is something they have to be engaged in. And they will find a way, and it will disrupt the economy right now if we do not provide a avenue for people to engage in this. I mean, I went through the last one, we had one here. It was amazing that how people stopped their work, and it was at work, and they went to these locations, and they basically just, the hell with work, I'm working, I'm watching the games, and no one dared to question them. So I'm
Right.
looking for this dynamic, particularly now as things going on right now in the world. People will looking for ways where they can find peace. And the peace right now is to participate in this process. They're not watching, they are participating with their whole body, soul, and their last breath. They are engaged in this matter. So this is not just a TV show or something you watch on TV. They are participating physically, mentally, emotionally, and whatever. They are fully engaged, and this is something wonderful if we allow it to act in its natural environment.
Right. Thanking Norman Floyd Barnes. Excellent remarks regarding the ticketing situation there regarding World Cup. Over here in Bangladesh, of course, our government has done its job to secure the televised rights so that people here in Bangladesh, 200 million people, can be seeing the World Cup from their very own television screens. We need to go for a short commercial break. Afterwards, we look at the nexus between man-made and natural disasters, as we have been seeing earthquakes happening more frequently than it did over 50 years ago. Do stay tuned on this very program. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantho.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
Opening an open war conflict with them.
Testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
With President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Welcoming our guests back on International Affairs. As we were discussing the World Cup, the war situation in the Middle East, one event cannot be disregarded. It's of course the nexus of natural disasters that take place in this big, green, beautiful earth. Of course, this year around, the World Health Organization has stated the El Nino effects coming to play. that will have a long-term effect on the warming of the oceans, warming of the mainlands. And not only so, earlier on this week, we have seen a very devastating earthquake taking center stage in Mindanao, Philippines, marking over 8 magnitude earthquake initially, which had several aftershocks affecting the livelihoods of those living in the Philippines. The islands of the Philippines were drastically affected. Not only so, tsunami warnings have been issued by the various agencies. Very shortly from Norman Floyd Barnes, how do you see this? Are we prepared for the next big earthquake, as we've seen an example being set in the Philippines? First to Norman, then I'll come back in the studio. Norman.
Yes, you mentioned that the most disasters we see now are man-made. I would concur with that. Matter of fact, I created a course I taught in the Middle East regarding that. We have the knowledge now. Now we have AI. We can send people to the moon talking about going to Mars, but we can't control information. The information is already out. We know there's going to be El Nino. We know there's going to be earthquake. We know these things are happening. Sometimes we have pre-warnings to that, but yet we still choose to be arrogant and say, well, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to ride it out. And that's when you have a disaster. Disaster is based on you have knowledge and you do not take the precautionary measures to protect yourself, protect your communities. You just assume that you can outwit nature. It will never happen.
Right. Thanking Norman Floyd Barnes for stating what we should do, how we should be prepared in the face of not only man-made disasters as well as natural disasters. And coming to the studio with Dr. Khosru Samad, you're a doctor of medicine. You would know some of the effects that happens after such a disaster like this earthquake that we've seen recently. Philippines, interestingly enough, night before, there was a 5 magnitude earthquake epicenter of Bhutan. Some here in Bangladesh have felt the very short shaking immediately the morning afterwards this event in Philippines. Your comments, when disaster strikes certain regions, access to fresh water, access to fresh food becomes the first requirement for human life to survive. Would you agree, sir?
Yes, rather I cannot, my foresee cannot touch the highest level. Hypothetically, if it has happened to the Dhaka, what will be the first thing? There are the huge man should be under the constructions building. How should we rescue? Because most of the places cannot be reached by the ambulance. The roads are not there.
Yes.
And the poor urbanization, ill-planned urbanization, and the safety system, poor firefighting, no firefighting practice was there. So first thing is that very hard job to rescue the ravaged people, number one. Number two, as you said, the water system. Right now the water system is poor. We saw there is a microorganisms in the water of Wasa even. Now the sewerage system, we frequently see the stagnant water in the sewerage system, and road traffic accident and the the huge incidences throughout the road and the incorporation of the Tesla. Right. Tesla, it becomes a huge traffic jam.
It's a social problem as I see it today.
Exactly, and very risky element for the driving because they are reckless. They sharply go from right to left. They don't have the traffic idea. They don't have that training. They don't have any criteria who will drive the car. It doesn't have any traffic system. So since it is here, it is very urgent to focus the issue. It is advocated, or it was said they should be transferred from the main city to the downtown. They are their livelihood, and it is also be needed. So my recommendation, the recommendation also planning others, it should be shifted from the main city to the downtown. So they continue their livelihood, and downtown should be given the more ultimate, more facilities, and main city should be free from the more trafficking. And for the preparation to evacuate the earthquake, the training, especially military training, should be incorporated with the civil training. The training should be given from the school, college, madrasa, and the office, especially the high-rise building. What will be happen? How should they get down from this, from the high to do? So and the awareness program. What will be happen if there is an earthquake? It was only 7.8 Richter. And if it is more than 8, what will be happen? If there is a precedences.
The same if it happens in Bangladesh, devastation.
Exactly. So my recommendation again, number 2 or 3 things. Number, it should be increased training to evacuate. More than a composite body is required to find out the causes, probable day or probable risk factors, and how to overcome the earthquake or control at least in a level, or we can predict that today is the day which will be attacked.
There is in Japan, there is an early prediction system in Japan. They have implemented a part of technology. Of course, excellent contributions, and thanking you for your time here on the program, various topics as well in international and national issues. Once again, thanking Dr. Khusru Samad for joining us here in the studio, as well thanking Norman Floyd Barnes from District of Columbia there in the United States of America. Before I end the program, today is the 9th of June, and in this day of history in 1967, Israel had captured the Golan Heights from Syria during the closing days of the 6-day war. Some of the history we must look back on so that we know what the future has for us and for humanity. With that being said, I am Shamsul Alam Pantho signing out on International Affairs.